So now you see this is, I mean, there is a tremendous changes in the land system that are occurring in the Jhelum Basin. Now this slide on the left, you can see that this was the agriculture. We have done it for each and every, I mean, after every 30 meters in the Jhelum Basin. Now you can see this, if you see on this was the agriculture in some area in 1992, and you can see the agriculture, it is reduced. The horticulture here was very small, and horticulture, I mean, there's a lot of change in the horticulture. Horticulture is increasing, agriculture is decreasing, so we are basically diverting less water for the irrigation from the Indus. Now if you look at the projections we have done for the up to 2020, again the agriculture is coming down and horticulture will go up and urbanized area will also go up, and this is how, I mean, because these affect different functions, different aspects of the hydrological system in the Jhelum Basin, or for that matter any other. So we are investigating the scenario by end of this century. Now you can see some of these projections here. The agriculture here as of now, and 2001, and agriculture that will be in 2020. Similarly, the urbanized area and the horticulture, and we have done it for all the component, all the land use land cover types in the Jhelum Basin. And we come down, I mean, in order to run the in order to assess the water supply and demands, we are doing for each of these 24 watersheds. And these are some of the watersheds that show the projections at different points in time. What is the now water supply and demand? What will be it after every 10 years? We are doing it. And you see, this is, I mean, as I said, the agriculture. This is just for the city of Srinagar. So what will be the demand for water? So this is directly related to the population growth. We keep the agriculture constant in two areas there. Agriculture, we say that it will not increase, but due to the population, what will be the increase in the water demand? So that is increasing a lot. The other aspect of this is the land degradation in the Jhelum Basin system. I mean, though Kashmir will look very green, you know, almost 50% of the areas under forests as of still in the Jhelum Basin, but a lot of areas, you know, almost 40% of the areas are vulnerable to the land degradation. I mean, to extremely high type of erosion. Because of the agricultural practices being practiced on the slopey areas, you know, all those, so that make it more vulnerable to the erosion. And if you look at the water quality scenario in the Jhelum Basin, if you look at the figures in 1982 and 2002, you can see how the water quality of Jhelum has changed. Though it may be still within the permissible limits by World Health Organization or by any other organization, but there's a drastic deterioration in the water quality parameters. And the other aspect of it is the stream flow. You know, because of the changes in the cryosphere, because of the changes in the population, the water demand for the people has increased. The supply from the cryosphere, from snow and glacier resources is decreasing. If you see in these 24 watersheds of the Jhelum Basin, we have observed that 19 of the watersheds show this type of a behavior, and just 4 or 5 show an increase in the stream flow, and this type of the decreasing trend is very significant. We have used different types of the tests, 2-3 tests for each of these watersheds, and many of these declining, and most of these declining stream flows are statistically very significant. And this is monthly data, and now you can see, as I said, some of the rivers, very few of 4 or 5 rivers are showing an increase in the stream flow. But overall, if you look at it, if you see the cumulative effect of this increasing and decreasing trend, is that at the exit of the Jhelum River Basin, there is a decrease in the stream flow. The reason for that is basically, though there has not been very much decrease in the precipitation in the basin, if you look at 25 years of data in Kashmir, in this Jhelum Basin, so you can see that the precipitation decrease has not been statistically very significant. There is a decreasing, very weak decreasing trend. But what has happened in Kashmir to the precipitation is that the form of precipitation has changed. We used to get a lot of snow precipitation, but now we get the liquid, the rain precipitation. The reason for that is the increase in temperatures. Those of you who are familiar with the climate system in Kashmir, so we have the harshest part of winter that starts from 21st of December to the end of January. These 40 days is the harshest part of winter, where we have almost every day or used to have the sub-zero temperatures in winter. And the snow that used to fall during this period used to last there for 3-4. You can see on the streets of Kashmir 10 years back, I mean last year and this year also we had a snow in Kashmir in winter, almost the entire winter. But if you look for last 20 years, so this, because of the increase in the minimum temperature in this period, this we call it Kalyan, the most of the precipitation we get is rain. Even if we get a snow, it doesn't last because the temperatures have increased. So it doesn't last there. So it doesn't act as a reservoir. So you can see this figure shows that there is an increase in the temperature during this December and January period, and that has changed a lot of things, I mean a lot of hydrological processes in the basin. And we at the University of Kashmir are running the regional climate model. What will be the climate in the Jhelum Basin by end of this century? And this is the administrative, you can see these districts, we have this boundary here. And these are the 4 plots for 4, we have it for every district, almost 12 districts we have in that Kashmir Valley. And we have just for each district we have simulated it. You can see this here, and it is validating. We have validated the climate change simulations with the field validations, with the observations we have for last 124 years. Out of that, we have validated for last 60 years. Now you can see this our climate change simulations and the historical data that we have since 1961 up to 2000. So it is validating very well. That gives credibility and certainty to our these climate change simulations, because we are using it for the impact study. What will be the, we need to make sure that they are very credible, and we are just trying to see this. And as I said, the precipitation does not change a lot, so the simulations also show it. So there is an overall, by end of this century, there is a prediction of 5-degree increase in the minimum as well as the maximum temperature, and there is a 13% decrease in the precipitation. So I just come to the concluding slide here. We can conclude for each of these processes, but the fact is that these observed changes, ecological and socio-economic changes, are impacting different hydrological processes, and that have adversely affected the functionality and ecosystem services of the Jhelum Basin. And I believe that, as I said in the beginning, that there is a need for developing a robust action plan. They may be still living rivers, but there is a need in order to stop this pace of deterioration. We need to develop a robust action plan, basin-wide action plans, which will take care of all these components that affect the health of the river system. Thank you very much for your attention.